Hi, it's Kevin May, Editor-in-Chief of PhocusWire. PundIT Show, this is number 13 of our regular podcasts. Unusually, we're here with video. Normally our podcasts are not video, so normal listeners have got an added treat this time because they can actually see everybody and these three handsome panelists with us this afternoon. So I didn't mean to smile when I said that, okay? So you are obviously all very handsome. So PundIT Show, imagine you are the pundits that are halfway through the soccer game. They're coming, they're asking you, what did you think of the game? So I'm going to ask you, so what did you think of things that you've heard today? We're obviously here at the Phocuswright Europe event. So we'll start with you, Pablo. What have you heard today that's been kind of interesting, unusual?
I think what I found the most interesting part was the fact that meta search is not a future anymore, it's just present or past. We're talking about meta search in flights and in hotels, and today big work is playing about meta search in packaging, so hotels and flights together, and I think this is a new wave that is coming. It will be very interesting. Let's see how the hotels especially adapt, because they don't have the technology, they don't have even the knowledge, I should say. Even the largest hotel chains have no clue where to start, that's my feeling. But I think companies such as Bigwork or other companies can help to start. I don't know if that's the best solution, but at least to start, probably is a good approach. Yep. And I think meta search is a beautiful battle between OTAs and meta search themselves, together with Google, because meta search and OTAs compete with each other. This is why Booking has stopped investing in Trivago for some time, and there's an interesting game. Let's see how it will evolve. My opinion is that hotels need to control meta search, and they are not controlling it. They have to kick all the OTAs out of meta search because they are not adding any value.
But it's very hard for a hotel to control the message, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, yes, it's another channel. Meta search is going to become a thing, but
it's not an option today. It's just a goal. But you need to start with a goal to make it visible in the future. Do you remember 7 years ago or 8 years ago when hotels wanted to kick out of OTAs from Google AdWords? And it looked like a chimera at the time. Oh, that's impossible. And now today, hotel chains are achieving that. They are in their contracts with the OTAs distribution. They signed, okay, you cannot bid on my brand on AdWords. So what looked impossible 8 years ago, today is feasible as an option. So with meta search, my opinion is it will happen the same. What looks impossible today, I hope it will be achievable in the future.
So do you think that the enemy now, because this industry always tends to gravitate towards wanting to move somebody off the throne, so it's like the OTAs right now seem to be the enemy. I mean, everyone's trying to find a way to get around the OTAs. I mean, that's what I find curious. Now is it it's the same old process in this industry. Is that once somebody dominates a channel for a supplier, a hotel, or an airline, it's like get the hell off the throne. I want to do this myself. So what do you think's the likelihood? I mean, taking an interviewer's perspective, but what do you think's the likelihood of that? Of that happening? I mean, are the OTAs threatened? I mean, do you think these airlines can actually do it themselves, or these hotels can do it themselves?
I think when you look from the hotel side, I started in hotel technology in 1999, right? And we started the internet in hotel technology. And I remember going to conferences when hoteliers came up to me and said, "Nice presentation, but if you believe the internet is going to bring us transaction, you need psychology, right? You need help, right? You really need help, dude." Because the GDSs are going to control this, and the GDSs are the big guys, and they kill this industry.
Yep.
And they're our enemy because 25% distribution cost. Oh my God! So we started 4%.
Sure.
Right? And we found out 4% you can't do marketing. So you got to raise it, and it went from 4 to 8 to 12 to 15 to currently 18. So when you look at it, the only thing we've done is we still have this monster GDS. We build up a second monster, and that are the OTAs, right? And then we build up a third monster, it's the meter search, because we thought the meter search are going to help us, help us control some of the OTAs, and then we can start doing business on the meter search. But in reality, what's our problem in the hotel side of the industry, at least, and the same in the airlines, is if you don't control what you do, and if you don't actively get involved in managing your distribution, somebody else is going to eat your dog food. right? And that's what happens to the hotels.
So is the impact on the margin then for those hotels? I mean,
of course,
eventually, you know, they're trying to put out a product out there.
Yeah.
You know, average price less average cost, and all of a sudden, you know, the average cost starts creeping up on the average price.
Yeah, absolutely. And the OTAs just take over from it, because if I, as a hotelier, don't start doing marketing myself, and I invest, you know, months and weeks and years and of research and work into managing my channels, of course somebody else is going to eat my dog food. And the thing is, what I really hate is this movement in the industry. Well, we got to do everything direct. We got to do everything direct. We got to do everything direct.
Because it's a hybrid, isn't it?
It's a hybrid. It's not going to happen.
It's got to be a hybrid.
Yeah, it's got to be a hybrid, right?
But it is a hybrid. We need to find a balance. But the problem is that it's too skewed to the OTA side, at least in Europe. So the balance it has not been achieved yet, at least here.
But that balance, will it ever be achieved? I mean, in the 70s, there was the GDSs and the tour operators. Now in the 21st century is the internet and the tour operators and the GDSs, right? I mean, I remember 2001, we used to go around and saying, we're going to kill the GDSs. Those suckers need to die.
Yeah.
Because they're killing the people. They're taking 25%.
How did that work out? I mean,
it didn't.
It's like,
it's still growing.
It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like a witch hunt. I mean, they come out on the square with their pitchforks, and the flames are going like, it's hang them, and it never happens.
It reminds you of something, right? If you can't do things yourself, you envy the ones that could do it, right? And the OTAs just
That's
did
the thing.
Right?
The value proposition of OTAs is taking your hotel up to places where you cannot reach directly. Yeah. And meta-search you can be directly. So why OTAs should be meta-search if you can be directly? So that's the why, if a user goes to TripAdvisor or Google Hotel Ads and search for a hotel, chooses dates, check-in, check-out, if you can be that direct with a competitive price,
right?
What's the value proposition of Booking and Expedia being there to compete with your direct channel?
Well, the thing is and that's where I think the industry is not being honest with the hotelier. So we tell the hotelier, you can be on meta search. Yeah, and they can be, but it's a lot of work. You need technology, you need a manager that manages the budget, you need to monitor and control, you need to do your pricing properly, you need to have a stellar booking process, because once you have those paid clicks come to your website, you need to convert them, and there's so many things involved in the process. If you add all this up, my philosophy is, or my assumption is, and if somebody would ever publish numbers, you spend just as much on meta search to your website as you spend on the OTA. So now let's face it, if you're an IHG, Accor, Hilton, a branded hotel, anything that has repeat guests and that has brand recognition, it's worth doing that, because you pay once, and every time you probably get more and more of that customer in. If you're a hotel mama in the middle of absolutely nowhere, what's the likelihood of that consumer coming back to you?
You're not going to have the expertise, and that's the whole thing about sometimes that we become overly focused on what a piece of technology can do. But if you don't have the expertise within your organization to actually assume the sophistication of what an OTA has done, and what they have sort of enabled, the market, through their marketing, through their positioning of your product, if you're going to try to duplicate that yourself, then you're going to have to be on parity, at the same cost with their efforts, and that's what I find sort of the over-reliance on technology is saying that this can solve that problem. No, you have to have the strategy internally to be able to do that.
Are you saying it's technology for technology's sake then?
I don't think it's that bad. It's not that bad, but it's like it's the expertise you need internally to be able to really leverage the technology, and that's what a lot of these suppliers sometimes don't have. I mean, I'm talking about the ones that seem to be really not too happy with the OTAs anymore, or with their distribution channels, whether it's the GDSs or the or the OTAs themselves. It's the same old.
It's the wrong comparison. We complain about 18% on Booking.com, 25% on Expedia and other channels. Let's go back to the 70s, right? And they're saying, well, it was all much cheaper. But in the 70s, what we did is we printed brochures. We had professional photographers. Right. We wrote text. We had translations done. We sent it to the printer. We had to mail it. There was postage involved, right? And where did all this disappear? In the marketing line below the gross margin. So today we take the CPC and we start looking at net revenue, gross minus what I paid for distribution, and that gives us a high percentage. But if you start looking back in those days and you start reallocating those costs that we always had and put them back into the top line in order to make it comparable, I would argue you're probably not that much away from what it used to be. Always.
So if you manage to...
Marketing and distribution is expensive.
I completely agree. I've never said that the direct channel is cheap. I think It is just that my opinion is more profitable than OTAs. So let's say a concrete
Depending
example.
on quantity.
For instance,
it
Google
depends
Hotel
on
Ads.
quantity that you're able to move.
But let's say, for instance, Google Hotel Ads, which is a meta search with a pure CPA model, which just starts with 10% commission, compared to the 18% you sell with Booking at 25 Expedia. 10% Hotel Ads. You want to bid on Hotel Ads with 10% commission. Even in rate parity or getting 2-3% off your price to be more competitive. So you're getting a sale and you're saving maybe 4 to 5% for each sale. So you're clearly saving money if you sell directly. You said, okay, but your conversion rate might not be the best because your technology is not that good. I think that can be solved, and I think what OTAs say all the time that, oh, okay, our conversion rates are much better than direct. That is true if you see an overall picture, but if you compare apples with apples, traffic from meta search to booking engine directly in direct and OTAs, I would argue that the conversion rates are not that different.
No, but I don't disagree with you. But what I'm saying is even with technology in place, so most of the hotels don't have it right now.
I completely agree with that.
They have to acquire it.
Yeah, completely.
That comes at a cost.
Yeah.
Right? And you go around here and you look at some of those widgets that we're now offering for the hotel websites. They're super expensive compared to base technology like a booking engine. On top of that, and that's the phenomenon cost for me is you need somebody to maintain your website. You need up-to-date content, you need imagery, you need to be active on it, it can't be stale. You need to continuously work on special offers, pricing and what have you. That means you need personnel. Right? And when you add that in, if you have a really good e-commerce manager, which is probably the guy that will do that for you, buy a girl, it should be correct. And then that will cost you what, 40, 50,
exactly.
60
and
grand a year?
This is where you reach the balance that we were talking about before. So it's like, but this balance is, I don't know how many hoteliers are here in this event, probably just a few.
I saw Best Western.
Best Western, okay. But I'm sure that most of them haven't achieved yet this balance and they are far behind. They're selling too much on OTAs and tour operators and bed banks and too little in the direct channel. So my point is that the balance is, the hotel direct sales can grow. Maybe it cannot grow forever, but maybe double or triple in many cases, and that's, you need to stop because the cost of acquisition is higher than through OTAs. This is where you need to stop.
Yeah. Can we change the conversation to technology?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we beat this one up.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, so what is this gratuitous use of AI and machine learning in every presentation that I hear?
Because it's this year's favourite word.
Yes, this is his favorite word. Last year and the year before that was big data.
Yeah, it's exactly. So what happened to the data? I mean, did it?
Well, we have data now, don't we?
They did the big data thing. They got the data. Now they're trying to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I just find it interesting that it's not even interesting. It's actually a little nauseating. Where everything has to be, eventually you have to throw in AI, into this.
And a chatbot.
And a chatbot and everything else. And so, I find, today's presentation somewhat of an impersonal approach to travel. That's starting to emerge in trying to relate to the consumer. That now the consumer needs to be automated. The consumer experience needs to be automated because it can be like a human. And I think it's a little bit of a fallacy, in that.
Well, you guys were dragons this morning during the startup competition. What did you think generally of the quality of the stuff that you saw coming through? Lots of chatbots, presumably, and AI and stuff like that.
Okay, so from my perspective, doing venture capital most of my life, I didn't see anything this morning that, with the exception of one that I already invested into, which I'm not going to name, but I didn't really see something that I hadn't seen before.
Right.
So there was
nothing new there.
There's nothing new. There's no innovation. And if I have a criticism in 2018 on startups that I see, it's the same all over, right? Somebody starts in tools and activities, and it keeps on going.
To be fair, that happens every year.
Yeah, that's true.
You get an influx of, I don't know, 2009, Matt was probably there as a dragon. Well, it was trip planners, or it was flash sales sites.
Yeah, I'm glad we're no longer planning trips.
But you know what I
We
mean?
still haven't managed to do that yet.
Yeah, I know, but
We're
what the
not
hell? We
planning
gave up on that. Let's
And it's
just
the same
go.
with big
Let's
data,
just
by
go
the way.
travel. Yeah, exactly.
gave up with big data.
Yeah,
It is
well,
just this
it was
year's
never that
thing,
big
right?
to begin with.
anymore. No, it's definitely.
Exactly.
So I don't know how that changes. I mean, we obviously want variety and we want to see new stuff that makes us go wow, but
Teleportation. I mean, I haven't seen it yet.
no,
I'm
that'd be
waiting.
next
Well,
year.
let's go
That'd be
Scotty.
next year.
No, but the thing this morning is, and you're right. Every year we have buzzwords that lots of startups
Yeah.
go about, right? So in that sense, this morning I didn't see anything that I hadn't seen before. But what I really start disliking is the fact that most of the startups don't really work on their USPs anymore. So this morning,
Ooh, okay.
right? This morning I didn't see anything where it was very clear, you know, I have competitors, yes, but this is what I really do better. You
Yep.
see charts and it's like, my competitors are here, I'm here, but why are you here?
Yeah.
There's no
What's
explanation.
the differentiation?
No, there isn't.
And you ask the question and then you get a monologue of, you know, out of the 3 minutes 30, they get a monologue of 2 minutes because they're so scared that the next question is going to be more complicated.
Right.
And I think it needs more training, right?
Well,
I mean,
and
if I go up on stage, I got to know why I'm on stage and why
and
I'm
some
so
of
much
that,
better.
Yeah.
You know, some of that competitive advantage. I mean, there isn't any competitive advantage because the people that they're competing against don't even have that much of an advantage to begin with because they haven't even defined the market yet. So competitive advantage, you know, implies that you're actually competing and getting customers at this point. So some of these technologies are so, you know, are so new into their cycle that to actually think that you have a competitor is sometimes of a false, you know, perspective too.
It's a bit of a generalization saying that because not everybody this morning was bad in explaining what their USP is. Right? But that's what you generally see. There's so many that do the same thing. It becomes more and more complicated to actually find out who is the good one to look at and who's the good one to invest into. And you could argue I'm a professional investor, so you know I should spend enough time to do that. What I'm thinking of is this: I'm fine because I do that. But then you have thousands of hoteliers out there that all of those guys go to as well.
Yeah.
And you know, as a hotelier, I would turn blank because I don't have the time to spend the amount of time that I do on it. And you're here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and after 5 is like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Right? And then the natural reaction from a hotelier is I'm going to sit on it and wait. So when you ask me why hoteliers don't adopt technology, it's my true belief. Technology in this industry is still not at a point that a hotelier can actually properly use it. Right? It's not designed for them.
Okay, so
And
then
why is that? Do you think is there an underlying?
Because we love ourselves too much as technology providers. We don't listen to our customers. Right?
So we solve our perceived problems versus the real problems that that the
And the
consumer
real problem
has.
is,
Yeah.
you know, they run
That's a good
a
point.
sophisticated hotel, and they have lots of things to do. We can't expect them to be tech experts.
Right.
Why would we? I mean,
This happens to us.
Apple doesn't do that with its phone users. Right? Why do we
Happens
need
to
to
us
do
all
that?
the time. We started being a technology company, and then we realized that hotels, which is our target market, didn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
So we turned to a service company and added a service layer to teach them how to use the technology
And I think that's
how
the
to
future.
adopt the technology.
And that's the,
And I
that's
think
the
that's the
irony
future.
of
So now
that's the
we
irony of
became a
technology in
consultancy
this
company.
industry.
Yeah.
Is it most of the places where it's applied, you know, the recipient of that technology really doesn't know what they're doing, especially in the B2B place. They really don't. I mean, and the consumer, you know, is much more empowered, you know, with technology than the actual suppliers are in this industry.
The hoteliers get calls from them and tell them the booking engine is down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's their QA process.
Yeah, exactly.
sadly we're going to have to wrap up because I think they're going to announce very soon here in Amsterdam the winners of the conference this morning. So thank you very much for joining
Thank
us
you.
Thank you
on
very
the
much.
Pundit Show. Matt, Pablo and
Pleasure being with
Sascha,
you.
thank you very much.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.